Good afternoon and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I am so humbled to be here today with my very special guest, Miss Myla Rogers. Thank you, Myla, so much for coming and sharing your story. We really appreciate you doing this. It's really like you're really brave to be doing this. As we talked last week, I kind of did some research and so I'm interested in what you have to share, okay? So we're going to be talking today about dealing with illnesses and depression. And so we're just going to have a conversation. We're going to let Myla be relaxed and we're just going to just talk back and forth and let her share what she wants to share. So Myla, I just want to start out and ask you, can you tell everybody what the illness is? What's the name of it?
It's kind of a long name. I think it's like Hidradentis Suppurativa, but we just like HS for short. And basically, it's kind of like a severe form of acne. It's where you get like these small boils and like places where you get like a lot of sweat, so like your armpits, your thighs and stuff like that. And then they get like really big, it's like golf ball size, and they're like really really painful. And then like they bust, and like pus comes out of it and stuff. And then like the skin on the inside kind of like comes out on the outside, so it's like really red and sore. So that that was a lot too.
So it causes a lot of pain. And does it come and go? So do you have like you have flare-ups and then it lasts for a certain amount of time and then it goes away and then you can feel it coming on again, or does it just pop on you, or do you know that you're gonna have flare-up?
I think it basically depends on like the time of the weather too, like that affects it a lot. But I do have flare-ups and then it'll go away for a little bit and I'll be good, and then it just like it comes and goes.
And goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this a hereditary sickness? Because it's a chronic illness, and when I researched it, it's like there's a lot of people that have it that you wouldn't expect, to, and they say that it's more in women than men. But is it hereditary? I
mean, nobody in my family has it. So like when the doctor told us about it, we didn't know what it was. Like I had to research too, and it's more common in like people like in their early 20s. So when I found out, like when I was 11 and I got it, I didn't know where it came from, how I got it.
So that's good that you said that, because that brought me to my next question. When I was doing research, I know a lady talked about how, and she was probably a little older than you too, but they said just right after puberty and before age 55, so before menopause. But she said that she went to she went to her gynecologist. She wasn't sexually active, and the first thing her gynecologist said was that it was herpes. And she said there's no way, because I'm not sexually involved at all, and so it can't be that. And then when they ran the test, absolutely it came back negative for herpes. So then she went on and they kind of lived with it, and her dermatologist, it took her to go to a dermatologist to immediately say, this is what you have, HS. This is immediately what you have. So how did you find out how you had it? So at 11, what caused you to say, we need to get to the doctor about this?
Well, I kind of thought I had like the flu. But then I'd start missing a lot of school, and I was in and out of the hospital, and it was I think it was right before my 12th birthday. I was laying in bed. My mom said like my eyes were really red. Like I was just laying there and just like staring in like a complete blank. So she called the hospital, and then they sent me to Tulsa, because the hospital down here they didn't know what to do.
Right. So by this time, were you diagnosed with it?
No.
So you still don't know what's going on? Okay.
So they took me to Tulsa. They had a whole bunch of like tests done. They did tests for diabetes, for Crohn's disease, for lupus. And they were like, okay, we still don't know what to do. So they sent me to a rheumatologist in Oklahoma City.
Right. So none of that came back. You didn't have any of that?
All that was negative.
So then
they sent me to a rheumatologist in Oklahoma City at the OU Children's Hospital. And after the doctor's appointment, the doctor said, okay, we need to keep you here because obviously there's something wrong. So at that time I was panicking, like, oh my goodness, like what's going on?
Absolutely, and so young.
Yeah. So after I got to the hospital, they had some more doctors come in. They took a lot more tests. Everything came back negative. So I was in the hospital for about a week, and I still didn't know what was going on. So they sent me back to the dermatologist here in Barnesville, and then she put me on Humira.
Right. That was one of the medicines they used when in the
she
research.
put me on that, and then that's when she was okay. I think that the HS is what you have. So that at that point, that was when.
So it was your dermatologist that pointed it down. Okay. So, what does it do to the body? So you say that there's bumps, like golf-sized bumps, and it is it all over the body or just in certain places? Because a guy had it, and it was in his scalp, and like really bad, and then other places like his groin and stuff.
I think for me, it's like all over the place. Like I had it in between my breasts, under my arms, like in my groin area, my thighs, on the backside.
Ever in your scalp?
No, I don't. Okay. I haven't had any in my scalp. So, but yeah, I think it depends on who that person is, on how severe it is too.
Right. Okay. So, how has this sickness affected your well-being? Because being so young and being sick all the time, and I know like it's peer pressure, and children are so not nice a lot of times, and so how has that affected your well-being as far as trying to live with it and then cope with other kids?
Yeah, I think it's gotten to me like emotionally. Like I've always been bullied for like my weight and looks and stuff, and then once I got to middle school, you have kids from different schools coming together in one, and I was at middle school for maybe about the first semester, and after that I had to do homeschooling because it had gotten so bad. But it was hard because me trying just to be strong and then go through school, and then just like kids I didn't even know, they would just make fun of me, groomers, and then like with this disease, like when the boils bust, it kind of has like a smell,
right? And
so the kids was like, oh, she doesn't take showers, she just smells bad. Like they would just make up stories like, oh, she probably doesn't have any water at home, just like immature things, and that was hard too.
The lady said that when she was telling it, said that absolutely she went through that, that when they busted it was just like she was in class, and I think she was in college, and she was in class and it busted under her arms, and like the whole room lit up, she said, at that point, because it busted right then, and it was painful to her emotionally, because that's embarrassing, right? And you don't have any control over it, so I'm sorry that you had to go through that. So and then that brings me to my next question. She says that also it tends to make you want to be secluded and away from people, and that's what takes you to depression. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's just with I didn't have a lot of friends back then because like when this all happened, they were worried about their image and what other people would say. So it was like at one time they just all said, okay, we can't be around you, and I'm just like, well, this is something I can't control. And then like that brought in like my anxiety. Like I didn't want to go outside, I didn't want to like go to the store because I was always afraid that somebody would say something. And it came to a point like I didn't even want to be like around like family stuff. Like I didn't want to like celebrate Christmas with my family. I just wanted to like be by myself and just sleep in all the time, and my mom was just like, no, you got to get up. But it was just so painful that it would be hard for me just to get out of bed and do stuff. So I'd just be laying in bed all the time.
Okay. I'm trying. It's tough. So whenever they also say that whenever the bumps burst, they leave scars. Do you have like a lot of scars?
Yeah, there's a lot of scars like under my arms, and then once I got back to school, a lot of kids would be like, oh, what happened? So I thought, well, maybe I could trust him now. So I did show him one of my scars, and then after that, they were just took that, just made fun of me. And that's when my depression even got worse. Because,
of course, I could see why.
And then once I first started high school, just a bunch of boys, they would chase me down the hallway, like yelling at me and stuff like that. And then they would like make bets on different girls. Like, okay, if you ask this girl out and she says yes, I'll give you this. And that got to a point like, okay, I can't do it anymore. And I got like really suicidal at that point.
Oh my gosh, Myla. So, my goodness, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's heavy for me because I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you, when I was growing up, I thought I was so ugly. And I didn't want people to look at my profile of my face. Like, I would never sit here like this and let people see the side of my face because it was so ugly to me. And I dealt with that on my own. I never told my parents. I never told a soul, but I was picked on and threw rocks at me. Like, my hair wouldn't grow and it was short, or grow long and short in different places, and then my mom would have to cut it off. Not because to be mean, but to make it grow back even, and all these things. But it was bad. And so I feel your pain. Even though I had friends, and I had one friend that she just never listened to them. She still was my friend. But everybody else would laugh at this one particular guy when he would do it. So he would do it worse. And so I understand that. But I never shared it with anybody. So you're brave. I just went through it. I just took it. And finally, when I matured and I didn't care and I felt better by myself, I was okay. But I told my mom when I was grown. I never told her because around family, I acted like it was okay.
Yeah, I'm like that.
Just around my family, I'm okay. But behind closed doors, I really wasn't. Yeah. Because I was so ugly to me. So, so I know they treat you, is it just the Humira that they treat you with?
It's a bunch of different stuff, because, like, with the HS, came with arthritis, you know. That was hard because I had it in both knees, and I was on crutches a lot, so they gave me Humira. They would give me steroid shots. They would give me cortisone shots, and it was
in your knees.
In my knees. Yes. Yeah, and that helped for a little bit. But then a week later, they would be swollen all over again, and that was hard because I didn't know like what was causing them to swell.
And you couldn't keep taking shots in your knees so much, right?
Right.
So do you still have the shot?
I do, but not as often.
Good.
Because it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but it only happens like in the winter.
Oh gosh, and winter's coming.
Yeah, that's when it swells up a lot.
So they say there's not a cure for it. They have to just treat it. But they were really super encouraged after they just accepted it and was like, we're just gonna, like, this disease, this sickness is gonna ride shotgun. I'm driving my life, and this is how I'm gonna be. Are you there? Or are you still? Let me back up. I think I'm going too fast because I want to talk about your depression more. You're getting treated for your illness? Are they now? Have you told your mom, or your mom realizes that you're depressed? What are they doing for your depression?
I mean, like,
or do you have to just deal with it?
My mom knew that this was a hard time for me, but I never like came out and said that I was depressed. You know, like I said, I would just sit in my room. Like, there would be some times I would just be so angry that I just wanted to like throw something, and I didn't even like looking at like pictures of myself, because I'd be like, man, I wish I was that person again. And like I said, I was just very suicidal. I just wanted to like take a bunch of pills and just go to sleep and then just not wake up.
Did you ever try it?
I did, you know, but I'm just thankful that it didn't get to that point.
So you tried to take your life? You did? Yeah. Were you alone? I mean, of course you were alone, but was it at home? Where were you?
It was mainly in the hospital, like late at night. You know, I would just like scratch myself till I bled really bad. But like I said, I never wanted to tell my mom because I didn't want her to worry. I mean, she was already worried about me because of the sickness, you know. So I would just act like I was just fine around my family. Then by myself, that's when it just got really, really bad.
So how are you now with depression and the illness? I mean, I see that you said that it's getting a little bit better, and that's good. But what about the depression? Like, at this point today, how are you?
I'm a lot better now than what I was 2-3 years ago. You know, when I'm depressed, I try to put it into something positive. You know, I usually like just close my door. I listen to a lot of gospel music, and I just try and pray about it. You know, and the anxiety, that it's gotten better a little bit too, but you know, there is times where I go outside and I'm just like, ooh, like, is somebody gonna say something? But it's gotten a lot better. So
also I like have people call me and they want to talk about their issues, and you know, even to say that they get mad at God, like, why do I have to go through this? And I try to serve God, and I try to live right, and I pray, and I trust Him, and then I'm failed because I have this. Have you ever had that experience?
I have. Like, there'd be some times like why me? Like, what did I do? You know, like, I was always try to be a good kid.
You were a good kid always in my class. Like I always said that. So. And I knew that you trusted God, but we're human, and so did you get mad at God?
I did at some point. Like, I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to do anything, so I felt like if I'm, you know, going to church, reading the Bible, and I got to come home and do this. I'm just like, okay, so what?
What's my point?
What am I doing that for?
I thank God that your mom believes, that she has a strong Christian belief, and you have a strong family like your aunt, and you have a strong family around you, because a lot of people don't, and then that's when they go into the suicidal mode, and we talk about suicide, and it's just, crazy that you talked about that, because I'm gonna have a lady come talk about suicide, but it's hard if you don't have the support system.
Right.
And then we have to thank God for her parents, because your mom has a lot. She has a lot going on with her. And if God didn't give her the backbone to be the person she is, so thank God for your mom. And so how do you help her get along? Because, how can you help her with your sickness and then everything else? Have you ever had to just grab her and say, Mama,
I have, especially like what's been going on with my sister and her kids. I just have to be like, okay, let me put my issues to the side and be like, I'm here for you. I'll take the kids and we'll just do little stuff together so she can have a moment. It is hard for me to get around sometimes because, little kids have so much energy these days. So I'm like, can you just sit down for a little bit?
It's the truth. I got some greats running around here, and they got a lot of energy.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll just text her in the morning and be like, have a good day at work. If you need me, call me. So just little things just to let her know that I appreciate her.
That's right. That's good. So if you would have to share with somebody about how you get through it, or even if they're depressed, how do you tell them? I want to know, because you didn't tell anybody about it. You wanted to, kind of like me, I didn't want my mother to worry, I didn't want my parents to worry, so I'll just deal with it on my own.
Right.
But what advice would you give somebody to for them to get through it without the suicidal things? What's your best advice?
I would say to tell somebody. I think that was my problem with me, is I didn't want to tell anybody, but I think if you tell somebody, they don't keep those emotions bottled up, because that just makes everything worse.
It makes it worse.
But just to tell us, a teacher, a close friend, talk to your pastor or something, but definitely tell somebody, because having that support, it makes it a whole lot better than just to keep it to yourself.
It does. And I feel like if I would have told somebody, so I agree with that advice, because I would have had more support. Definitely my parents would have jumped on it, but I didn't want them to worry. And I went to school and I dealt with ugly people. They were mean to me. And I remember every last one of them. That's crazy, right? I'm a grown woman. I'm an old woman. And I remember. And so I try to be mindful of not treating people like that. And, kids are kids. And that's why I'm saying you're very brave for coming and saying that, because people are going to see this. And they're going to know now. And some people are just not nice. How are you gonna deal with that if it so let me ask you this. Let's back up. Do you have friends now that are hanging out with you and they're better? Okay, and so how do you deal with the ugliness from others?
I tried not to let it get to me, which is kind of hard since I am in high school, and this is, I'm graduating next year. But, I try to, if I see somebody else going through it, I don't want them to go through the same thing that I went through in high school. So I try to make sure that they, especially freshmen, I try to make sure that they enjoy their time in high school. If somebody's sitting alone, I'm like, hey, you can come sit with me. I sit with a lot of, the special needs kids, too. The autistic people, hey, you can come sit with me. Get to know them, because you never know. You might have something in common with that person. So I try to be nice to everyone.
That's right, and you'll be blessed for that. I just feel like you are a good person, and I've always told you that, and that's all you displayed. And I feel like that your trust in God and your belief in God carries you. It carries us when we go through this, and so I appreciate you talking to me, because I didn't know. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what, because I would have been more present. But like you said, you withdraw, so you probably wouldn't have called on me to come and help, because you didn't want to do that. But just know that I'm here for you always, and people are going to be mean no matter what.
Right.
If we were the prettiest girls walking, because I think you're pretty, and I think I'm all right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if we get to a point where we're just walking around here wallowing in it, it's going to be our problem. But if we get confidence in ourselves, it's their problem for thinking the way that they think.
Right.
And so keep embracing people, keep being brave. Keep encourage. You're gonna have to embrace your sickness, your illness, because it's not a cure right now. But you're gonna have to embrace that to say it's here.
Right.
And I got to do what God, do with what the strength God gives me to do, and then let Him do the rest.
Right.
And then continue to love on other people, because Myla, especially high school years, people are depressed.
Yeah.
Especially teenagers, they're thinking of suicide. They don't want to tell anybody, and they want to have this tough look around people, but they're really hurting inside. And for you to come and share your story, and somebody's going to see this story somewhere, and maybe it's going to help. So we can help one person. And if it can help you too, heal and know that, because you're smiling.
Yeah.
You're smiling, and that matters. So anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Like I said, anybody watching, just, don't be miserable. Tell somebody, I know it's hard, have a positive attitude, like put that into something good, and it'll eventually get better as long as you keep trusting God. So
that's right. And so we're gonna end our interview today. I want you to come back, Myla, and I want to talk more about the depression.
Okay.
Because we need to hear about that. Because if you could save one life, so we'll get this and let this settle in, because you don't know how kids are going to react to it. But I'm optimistic. So I'm gonna say they're gonna embrace you.
Right.
They're gonna embrace you, and this is gonna be good for people. But we'll come back and we'll do something over depression of teenagers, because it's happening all around you.
Yes, it is.
And I'm saying, with you being depressed, you probably can notice some people, and people act ugly because they're it's something going on with them. It's not you, it's them.
That person,
right? So you guys, we are going to wrap up this interview today. Don't forget to say your prayers. Remember to embrace and love one another. Subscribe, like, and share this video. Get it out to as many people as possible. And remember to hit like inside of YouTube so that we can reach more people. Stay tuned for Myla coming back on the depression topic. It's going to be really good. We're going to really dig into depression. Other than that, have a happy Saturday. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.